And he's like, yeah, it's nothing to, at least hit 3 to 4 people during Baja. I'm like, excuse me, what?
You hit people?
Hit people all the time because they stand so close to the race course.
Seriously?
Yeah. Hi, my name's CJ Faison, and you're watching the Derek Pernissiglio Show.
Get out, drive you!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Derek Pernissiglio Show. We've got a little bit of a different episode this week. We've got a Renaissance man joining us. We've got CJ Faison joining us. He's done NASCAR Xfinity Series, Truck Series, K&N Pro Series, now ARCA, Trophy Trucks. You have a YouTube channel where you're ghost hunting. What else? A shock company and eyewear company. Like you've got you figuring everything, right?
A serial entrepreneur, I guess. Yeah.
Want to thank you for joining us too, because there was just crazy drama for you coming in yesterday.
That was wild.
What happened? The flight got overbooked or something?
The flight was overbooked. I got there, and usually I check in on the app, and I don't know if that like calls something, but for whatever reason, I just waited till the last minute to check in. And I'm at a regional airport, so between me and basically the plane and the truck are like 200 feet away. So I wait till the last minute to go in, and yeah, it bit me. Yep.
Oh no, that's air travel.
They figured it out. They made it right, so that was nice of them.
That's cool. We appreciate you shifting a day and flying down here today to come visit us. We definitely appreciate that.
Well, we go way back, and that's the thing. Like when you approached me, you're like, dude, I want you on the show. I'm like, name a time and place, I will fit it in somehow. So yeah,
because you've got like this Robbie Gordon thing going on where you've driven everything, sprint cars and NASCAR, now trophy trucks. You ran the Baja 1000, right?
No, I ran the Mint 400, which is actually harder than the 1000.
And what is the Mint 400?
It's it's America's like off-road race, like the Great American Off-Road Race, and it's 400 miles through the desert. And basically, the best way I can put it is stick yourself in a paint shaker for 10 hours straight and then get out and then let me know how it feels. Like,
you guys get beat up.
Rough. Like everyone in off-road, everybody wants to run Baja. They run Baja, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Now we go run the Mint. And I did it backwards. I'm like, all right, I want to run the Mint first and then Baja. So I made the mistake. It beat the hell out of me.
Now, where is that run through? Is it Nevada and Arizona, or like what parts of the desert are we talking? Is it in the United States?
Oh yeah, so the Mint 400 is in the United States.
All
it's
right.
actually in Jean, Nevada. So that's right almost up to the California line. And that's about 45 minutes outside of Vegas.
Okay.
But it was really cool, man. It was just I don't know how to explain it. The experience of a lifetime that I never knew I didn't need.
It's so funny that you say that too, because in 2020, the NASCAR stuff went away from me, but Mav TV called to have me do Lucas Oil Off-Road Truck Series.
Oh,
and
nice.
I did a season of off-road with them. So there was, the Pro 2 category, the mod carts with the little kid. Those kids are nuts, man.
Yeah, they're wild now. Like they're just bombing it off these jumps. It's cool.
The buggies, like everything. And I tell you what, it was going into a completely new form of racing for me. I'd never done any type of off-road stuff before, but I'll be honest with you, I had the most fun I've ever had in my life.
It's different, right?
It was different. The people were cool. These guys are flying these things through the air, and I just kind of learned, and what was really surprising is how these guys, they literally do fly them through the air using the throttle and the brake to kind of control the pitch and the yaw of the truck. I mean,
just like a dirt bike, you know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Yep, gas up, bring the front of the truck up, hit the brakes, bring the front of the truck down. It's important.
Have you done any Have you done any short course racing?
No. So like my team and I, we're really only focused on off-road desert racing. So short course, it looks fun, don't get me wrong. Like it would be cool to go out there and slide the truck sideways, but as uncontrolled as that is, the whole desert racing aspect is completely uncontrolled. I mean, you're going through the desert, and you're like, I call it mobbing through the desert, because you're just like the wheels and tires. I mean, it's everything I've ever known is just throw it out the window. It does not make any sense, and it does not correlate with that driving style.
In what way? You mean it doesn't make any sense? It's like you got to unlearn what you learned?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's hard because I got out of a trophy truck at the Mint 400, and then a week later, I'm testing my sprint car at Bridgeport Speedway. And yeah, like it's two different volumes of racing, right?
Two different volumes of off-road too.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, I was a complainer. I can't even lie to you. I would complain about, the racetrack's rough, and I have zero business complaining about a racetrack ever again. It could be a cornfield, and I'm like, it's pretty smooth.
Ralph Shaheen's a buddy of mine, so he has some experience in the off-road trucks kind of stuff. And he was telling me when they do the Baja 1000, when they get across the border, the locals there are setting up booby traps along the raceway, like digging ditches for them to flip the trucks in, and all, like they're
putting boulders in the race course.
Right, I hear like they do everything to sabotage the race
because they want that crash, they want that action right there, or they're rooting for a certain person. And those fans down there are that's a different animal. Like they take 2 weeks off, Derek, and they like the whole country shuts down almost. And everyone comes to Baja and they're lined up around the course, and you're 5 feet away from a race truck running 100 miles an hour coming off of a jump. It's dangerous. I mean, a good friend of mine who's a driver coach for me, Chuck Dempsey, he's one of the greatest guys. He's a legend in that off-road industry. And he's like, yeah, it's nothing to, at least hit 3 to 4 people during Baja. Like, excuse me, what?
You hit people?
Hit people all the time because they stand so close to the race course.
Seriously? Yeah. Have you hit someone yet?
Not yet. Knock on wood. I mean, but Baja's coming. I mean, on all the American series.
Do they stop or they
keep going?
Really?
You act like nothing ever even happened. Yep.
Well, I mean, you running out on the race course, you kind of get what you deserve.
I mean, it's kind of like a fan jumping the fence and getting on the race course. More than likely, you're going to get hit. But in America, like, they don't allow them to get but so close. So the Mint 400, we're going through the high-speed whoop section. I mean, some trucks are running 40, some trucks are running 120 through there. And they're the fans, I think the closest they can get are about 200 feet away. And even that, I mean, when I flipped a trophy truck in December.
I saw the video.
Man, talk about a ride. Talk about a ride. That was a rough one, man.
Was that your first time upside down?
No, I've been upside down more times than I'd like to admit.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'm a bit of a gasser, so like that doesn't help my situation at all. And my navigator's actually my cameraman, Chris. So he's been in dirt bike racing all his life. So I introduced him to circle track, and then I'm like, hey man, I got this opportunity to go run trophy trucks. I said they let me pick whatever navigator I want. I was like, I want you to navigate because we get along so well, and you need somebody who like you can really get like a rapport going with, because I know the tone of his voice, and when he calls like an L3, I know in my head if he's confident that's an L3 or not.
What do you know when you mean L3? What is that?
So that's a left-hand turn, and for a lot of people use L1 through 6 or L1 through 8. An L is a left, R is a right.
Right.
1 through 6 or 1 through 8, whatever your numbering system is how fast you can control that truck in that corner. So like if I hear an L3, I'm still running and charging that corner pretty hard, but I'm a little reserved. Now an L1, that's like a 180. Like we need to slow it down because I'm going to kill both of us if we don't.
So the lower the number, the sharper the corner it is? Okay, that's okay. So it's kind of like almost having a spotter with you, but
Bingo.
He's sitting right next to you.
Yeah.
Wow. And just like in racing, you got to trust your spotter.
Absolutely.
So you got to trust your navigator.
I mean, you think about it. I always had Randy Bradshaw up on the roof for May spotting, and I knew his voice. I knew his mannerisms. As you know, I was leading that race at Dover, like 90% of the race, lap 13 to go. I blew a right front tire leading the race.
I know.
And during the race, I could hear like his tone of voice changes, and I pick up on that with people, and I could tell when Austin Hill was coming up on me. And I needed to gain a little bit more track position. Even though we were half a straightaway in front of them, we were still good. But that voice recognition for me is huge. So that's why I needed Chris in the truck. And I sent him to training school. He trained for weeks just to navigate the truck.
Okay.
And we did so much testing through the wintertime. So
wow. So,
all leads up to the Mint.
So where do you go? Out to California to test?
Yeah, we got to Johnson Valley, California, where the company that I race for, Brenthal Industries, they actually have their own test facility out there. So, I mean, it's a 40-mile loop. I mean, you're getting a lot of different terrain because the biggest thing in off-road is rocks. You don't want a flat tire. A flat tire is 3 minutes. 3 minutes is the difference between you finishing first and 31st.
Really?
It's nuts.
Okay.
All right. So, for instance, in circle track racing, what do? We're looking for tenths of a second. We're looking for tenths of a second off-road. So you're talking about terrain that you've never seen before because you're not allowed to pre-run these American courses because BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, doesn't allow that. So the race course maker, so to speak, has to go out there and mark points on a GPS. And our first loop of 93 miles at the Mint, we've never seen it before.
Really?
And you're trusting a GPS in your navigator.
Wow. You know, it's funny. It's like, how did they do it before GPS, right? Did they have to go out and draw the map or?
No clue.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
So now, how in the world did you go from racing in NASCAR and Xfinity Series and trucks and then, well, you started off in dirt late models, came to NASCAR, went back to dirt racing, but how did you get into trucks or off-road trucks from just going in circles?
I think it's pretty weird direction, honestly. So I've been I guess like you would say, like a low-key fan of off-road racing. I've always admired someone who can jump a vehicle or jump a dirt bike, backflip a dirt bike, and land it. And I was always like, I've always owned side-by-sides, and anytime I get on my side-by-side at any of my properties, I'm ripping around. I'm on the edge of flipping it over because I love that adrenaline rush more than anything. And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, long story short, there's a couple of phone calls that were made because I started inquiring. I'm like, how do I get into this? And Brenthel's like, yeah, we can build you a trophy truck, and you do this arrive and drive program where we take care of it and all of this. And it was a really good deal. But mainly it was just the curiosity of seeing how far I could push myself as a personal individual. Because I'm only going to go so far. You can only go so far in circle track racing, right?
Right.
You have basically almost two different avenues. You either go like, for circle track, you're either going NASCAR or World of Outlaw sprint cars, maybe dirt late models, big paying shows. I mean, you got a guy like Jonathan Davenport. I mean, he made over $1 million last year.
Right.
Dirt late model racing. Crazy, right?
Right.
Do I have the talent he has? No, absolutely not. But I have to make up for my lack of driving ability by pushing it like almost 10% further than everyone else and hoping I don't make that mistake. You know,
right.
That's just it.
I think the elder statesmen call that more balls than brains.
And I've been called that before. Yes, 100%. Yeah.
But you've been doing good though. What'd you get like with the dirt sprint car side of it? What'd you get like 4 wins last year?
We got 5. 5 total,
wins.
yeah.
Okay.
And we only ran 11 races. So we're almost a 50% win ratio there.
So technically, you don't have a lot of sprint car races under your belt.
No, I've less than probably 30 races collectively since 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, the sprint car that you're running, is it 360, 410?
This is 305s.
305s.
And we've got a
okay.
360 that we'll put in every once in a while, but we don't even mess with it. The 305 racing is like, it's so competitive. I mean, it's like crate late model racing or, going to Hickory and running a limited race. Everybody's got the same stuff, and it comes down to driver at that point.
Okay, cool. Now, is that the French Grimes Race Saver?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you can actually come down and run with the Carolina Sprint Tour.
Yeah, I was going to the other week when they raced at Clary, or what I know as Clary, whatever it's renamed now. But we were going to come down. They got rained out.
Okay, yeah. Sean Vardell owns the series.
Yeah.
I know him. I've actually announced some of their races before.
Have you really?
Dude, they're a great group of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they average about, I think it's like, anywhere from 17 to 24 cars per race. It's not a bad little group, but, they're trying. And as far as a Southeast Series goes, like there's no sprint car racing around here but that. And then every once in a while, USCS comes to town.
Yep.
But, that's really cool, man.
That's neat. It's a small world. I didn't even know you knew him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool,
we used to
man.
race outlaw carts together.
Yeah.
That's something you got to try.
I've never done that.
Dude, you
messaged me about that one time. You remember that?
Yeah, you think that you got to know finesse in a sprint car? It ain't nothing in an outlaw cart because
I'm in.
Dude, they are the fastest reacting, the twitchiest, and the fastest thing to get in trouble in too.
I can imagine.
When we get done, I'll show you a video. Larson and I were racing one night at Millbridge, and again with me, more balls and brains. I tried to rip the lip and caught the cushion and destroyed a car that was only 4 races old. I was so bummed.
That hurts feelings right there.
And it was becoming one of my favorite cars because it was competitive and fast. You know when you get like one of those that you like a lot.
I feel you. We have one of those right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. So how many cars do you have? How many sprint cars?
We got 4 complete sprint cars total right now.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So any given night, my crew chief is one of the most interesting people ever. He's 24 years old, and he's probably one of the smartest people in our area as far as crew chiefing goes.
Okay.
The kid literally, I call him a kid. He's one of my best friends. I don't know if you ever heard of the guy named Ricky Elliott. He raced dirt late models all up and down the East Coast. So this is his stepson.
Okay.
and grew up around racing, and now we are developing our own technology as far as chassis wise and all of that, because you can go and buy a triple X, and that's kind of what we start off with, is a triple X, and then he starts hacking bars left and right and putting on other stuff. And the 305s don't need to have flex in them, right? They need to be as rigid as possible for the way that I drive it, at least. So we spent 3 agonizing years running. We could never get past third. I mean, third was like a win to us, and it was a big deal. So we finally have bridged that gap.
Cool.
And we've got, like you said, we've got that one chassis that's just so perfect. Like, you don't want to get rid of it. Like, I'm so terrified to take that car anywhere else besides Bridgeport.
Right.
Because it's like, if I go and junk that car at like Port Royal or somewhere like that, it's hard to find the same car. That's why all these sprint car teams, they buy 12 chassis and they go through them and they measure them all up, and they're typically not the same. It's
Really?
Weird.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And aren't the triple X ones? Those are the where they made.
I guess Japan.
Something like that. Yeah, they're made
and then
overseas.
they're shipped in. Yeah.
That's insane.
A little different, right?
Yeah, totally. But the other thing too is you've also brought big sponsors to your sprint car too, like Velveeta cheese. How did you get the huge corporate sponsors like that?
It was the dumbest thing ever. I'm literally in Food Lion, and the girlfriend I had at the time, I said, "Here, hold my phone and record this." Now, give you a backstory. I used to eat Velveeta cheese at least 3 to 4 times a week. Like, I'm addicted to that stuff. I don't know what they put in it, but it's great. So I put the shopping cart against the shelf, and I scooped the entire shelf of Velveeta shells and cheese into my cart, and I walked off.
Like a movie?
Yeah. I posted on Twitter, and I didn't even tag them. That was the funniest part. I did not tag them at all. And somebody saw it. And I guess I'm thinking like my fans were maybe tagging Velveeta, like, "Hey, Velveeta, check this out." And I got a Twitter DM from Velveeta saying, "Hey, we want to license this video." I guess they were going to use it for a commercial or something. One thing leads to another. We bridge an awesome relationship. I got to unveil their new logo last, not this past Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before, like a year and a half before it even hit the shelves on a live stream. And then I got to let it appear on the car. It was really cool, man. Really cool. They're the greatest people to work with. They're really friendly, and they're creative. That's what I like about them.
That's awesome, man. It'd be really cool if you get them all on everything, the sprint car, the truck, everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You just got so many things going on. What's the next subject we jump to next? The motivated eyewear.
Yeah.
Like, you still have that? The
sure,
sunglass company?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've, it was
Think about
weird.
it. Wait, think about it. The Derek Perniciglio show presented by Motivated Eyewear.
I like it. Let's talk terms after this, dude.
All right, absolutely.
That would be cool. Hell yeah.
What made you come up with a sunglass company?
So I actually didn't even build Motivated. So Motivated was a company that was actually based out of here in North Carolina. I was sponsored by them at one point. Some things kind of went south between me and them, and it just kind of fizzled out to nothing. And I was like, I would really like to own my own sunglass company. So I spent the next 6 months looking at, how do you manufacture sunglasses? So that went from a 6-month process to a year, and I came up with a company called Real Eyewear. I priced myself out of the market almost immediately with $20 pair of sunglasses. My whole vision was, eyewear always costs too much, but there's a reason why it costs so much. And we can always joke, yeah, you got a couple bucks in a pair of sunglasses of, a big name brand. Won't say names, but it was one of those deals where I saw like this niche in a market. And I'm like, all right, how can I take what I know and what I'm good at, which is marketing, and build, I can build a business from scratch. I'm very good at that. And then I can get it to this level, and then I'm going to sell it off. Like, that's my whole MO with almost every company that I own. Eventually, it's either a 5, a 10, or a 12-year plan. If I own it over 12 years, I know that I didn't do my job correctly.
Really?
So that's my gauge. And I know I'm only 30, but I mean, I started running businesses when I was 14 years old. I sold coupons in my grandmother's front yard when I was 7. I didn't understand the concept, Derek. I was like, these things come in the mail for free, and they give you money off at a store. What if I started bagging them up and selling them in bags? So I set up this table on my grandmother's lawn. And I've just been more entrepreneurial than I have been a race car driver. It's just, what do you like to do for fun? It's drive a race car.
Right.
That's it. I mean, that's why I strive to go make as much money as I can, because I like racing. And I know that one day, I'm kind of a wild cannon. And I know that. I'm a little bit loose on.
Oh, I know. I've seen some of your videos.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a sponsor's dream poster child, but I'm also not some crazy person out here trying to get all of us canceled at the same time.
Right.
So
but you have fun with the stuff that you do. That's what definitely comes through in your videos and all that, especially when you're talking to the folks, on camera too. Like you have a very good screen presence, and
I appreciate that.
You it's almost like you're chatting to like one individual person, but it's a good on-screen connection.
Well, I mean, you've been in media and production your whole life. I know when I watch a video, if someone is talking to an audience, you lose me. But if I feel like you are talking directly on camera to me, I'm tuned in. So I try to make everyone who watches any of my videos that I'm talking directly to them, not anyone else behind the camera, directly to them.
Okay, gotcha. The next thing was that people don't realize is that you're talking about being entrepreneurial from a very young age. Is that you became a CEO at 22?
Yep, that's correct.
How did that happen?
Just here's the weirdest part: is my dad was always a businessman. And it's very easy to look at me like, all right, so we had enough money, or my dad had enough money, I should say, to let's try to get this NASCAR career thing going. And I kept coming to him, and I'm like, I understand, like, this has been your and I's dream forever. I said, but I think I understand better that I can build businesses and make money faster than I can become the next Kyle Larson or Jeff Gordon.
And spend a lot of money in the process.
Spend a lot of money in the process.
I remember you had met with me over at the old PPC building one day about wanting to build a team, and you had Mark McFarland, who was a very reputable name in the ARCA series and in racing altogether. And I was definitely interested in what was going on, but it also, after that, everything kind of like, stopped and stalled out.
Yeah,
which I understand.
I'm a number guy, and my dad and I were in a weird place. He's no longer with us now. He stage 4 cancer, and that's why I'm all the time on people going and getting go get your colonoscopy. Just do that and get it done and over with. It could save your life type thing. But I'm a numbers guy, so I went to him and I'm like, here's what it's gonna take in order for you and I to start a race team. Yada yada yada. Well, he looked right at me. He's like, how much money do you have to fund this race team? I'm like, well, I've got next to nothing. I mean, everything I've spent has just been put right back into racing so we can continue going racing.
Right.
And I told him, I said, this doesn't make sense. I'm moving back home.
Okay.
And once I moved back home, him and we had a really funny story. I came back home and I started running the auction, which he started, Delaware Auto Exchange. Mm-hmm. And we started running this, and we, as father and son, we see eye to eye on a lot. We're best friends. There's a couple of things that we don't. Well, one of the greatest stories I have of him was we were going back and forth on something in the office, and he said, I'm not doing it your way because it's just going to lose money. And I said, how about this? If my idea loses money and I don't double, if not triple, I'm guarantee you I'll double our business in 90 days. If not, I'll walk out of here and go find another job, and I'll continue running my companies. He's like, whatever you want to do. So about 45 days later, he calls me in his office. He's like, what did you do? And we over doubled our business.
Good.
So it was just cool. And then I felt like I earned that respect from him. And, everybody kind of looks at me, or, they could almost kind of say, oh, CJ's dad had money, or, we had money, but it wasn't like NASCAR money by any means.
Right.
So, when he passed away, he was very smart. He didn't leave anything to any of us. And he's like, if you're going to make it, you're going to make it on your own.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So then, what did he leave to anyone? I'm sure he had assets. Right?
Oh yeah, he had assets and stuff that could be liquidated, but the way that the trust and everything fell, it was just it's not like I'm walking away with hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, it was just weird because we had conversations before he passed away, and it was just the most intelligent conversations we've ever had. Mm-hmm. And it was about business, and he taught me everything I knew about business, but he would never invest in one of my companies that I'd come to him like, I got this awesome idea. He said, I'm sure it's an awesome idea, but how are you going to fund it? And I'm like, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So everything I've had to do has just been, unfortunately, self-funded, which has only made me a better entrepreneur at that point.
Yeah, but being around your dad for that many years, that's an education you can't buy.
I couldn't go to college for the rest of my life and learn half of what I learned from him.
Right. Because, I mean, the Delaware Auto Exchange is huge. It's like the biggest one in Delaware.
Oh, right? Yeah, we're the largest auction within probably 100 miles.
Wow.
And it's crazy. I mean, like right now, I'm in the process of buying the auction from his estate.
Okay.
So that'll cost a lot, but I've got ways that I am formulating to do this, which is really cool. But again, make you work for it. He would never. I mean, he's the type of guy that if you had a pack of gum sitting right there, hey, can I have a piece of that? He'd be like, well, I paid $3.14. There's 20 pieces in there. He'd divide that down, not actually charge you, but he pinched every penny with everybody.
You know what? Name me a practical man and a successful man that hasn't. You know,
point.
really, all of them. So now, for you to buy the company from your dad's estate, is it something that you are going to keep around in the family, or is it going to be one of those businesses that you hold on for a few years and then sell off?
My whole project with buying the auction is, I want to buy the auction. I have a lot of contacts, me personally, that hold business there, that are doing business there solidly because of my relationship with them. And I understand that if I can build this out and turn this into, there's one or two routes I can go. I can build the business, and I would like to quadruple the size it is right now and then sell off within the 10-year mark. Or I take this company and duplicate this model that I'm coming up with in the background right now. It's really cool. And take it and go public with it. And then spread this all throughout the country and do it that way. So, do an IPO with it and let it ride.
Wow, no kidding. It's insane, man.
My brain literally does not shut off. I'm at the racetrack, and hell, right before my dad's memorial race that I won at Bridgeport.
Which is awesome. Oh my God.
Great story, by the way, right?
Yeah, you got to tell us that one.
Yeah. So right before that race, I had a business phone call come in like 10 minutes before I'm supposed to get in the car, and I'm putting out fires that, transporters got locked in the gate in one of the properties, and I'm trying to figure out who I can get there, because most all of my employees and friends and family, they're all right there with me. So it was, you're always troubleshooting things in business. It just never ends. And if you're okay with that, then good, you're an entrepreneur. And if you're not, just don't do it. It's so stressful. But we'll talk about Dad's race, because that was incredible, man.
That was pretty cool when I saw that you won it. First off, I don't know how you kept your composure, of all things, but tell us the story about how that all came about, because I remember your dad. Your dad was super nice guy. He was always very welcoming to me at the racetrack.
Always trying to offer you food that he was cooking at the trailer.
Right. Yeah, always. Yeah, come on in,
Always.
get yourself something to eat. He'd have it all lined up and eat this, that. Super nice guy. And he called me and thought enough of me that wanted to do some sort of business with me when your NASCAR career was taking off. So
yeah.
I always admired him for that, and I always had great conversations with him. But I am sorry that he passed.
Yeah.
Really, I know what it's like to lose a parent. I lost my mom a little over a year ago. So
I remember that. Yeah, man.
I think the only ones that understand the gravity of losing a parent are the ones who have lost one.
Bingo.
Because it feels like, first off, it feels like somebody comes along and cuts a big chunk out of you.
Absolutely.
That's one. And then you also feel like you lose your guide in life.
Completely.
So yeah, there's that. And there's a lot of times where I just sit back and I talk to my mom. I'm like, come on, Mom, how do I do this? How do I do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking for that guidance that they always provided with you, or even maybe not guidance, just that comfort zone, that safety net of like, hey, I'm feeling this way. Is this normal? And they're like, yeah, or no, grow up, whatever. It's I understand that completely.
Yeah. How did that memorial race go for you and your dad and that whole story?
Man, this is a weird one, because I finished. So I'm on the door of my first sprint car win that whole season. We're second, third, third, and I finished second. I think it was 3 weeks in a row. And I'm like, I finally look at my crew chief, Chase. I'm like, dude, I don't know what else I'm gonna have to do. I literally don't know what I'm gonna do. So the week before my dad's memorial race, I'm starting 18th, and I made it all the way to second. And I made a last lap slide job that did not work out. And on the last turn, last lap, could have won my first race then. And hindsight's 20/20, obviously. Mm-hmm. So going to the next week, I'm just frustrated. I'm like, I'm more determined than ever. And I did probably the worst thing I could have done, which was hype up my dad's race. I've got over 500 to 600 fans that have come to watch and be supportive of my dad's race at Bridgeport. So I hosted a fan meetup at intermission, and they parked me behind the grandstands, and there's a line from literally my trailer into the grandstands all the way to the other end. And I was like, when I did this, I'm like, I'm going to give out free t-shirts to all my fans who come. If they're in line to get an autograph, they're getting a free t-shirt. Now, this cost me like $6,000 or whatever. I mean,
Wow.
It was like a lot of money. But my thing is, hey, you showed appreciation to coming out to my dad's race. I'm showing you appreciation for supporting me and my YouTube journey. It means a lot.
That, and also all those people walking around with CJ Faison t-shirts, and your sponsors are on it, and it's just, it's the exposure.
It's exposure. And also having all of those people there was the biggest pressure I've ever felt in my life. I mean, I could have made a diamond in the trailer from all the pressure that was going on. And man, I'll tell you, right before the fan meetup, so here it is, the heat race. I didn't transfer into the redraw.
Oh, no.
So where am I starting? I'm starting 15th.
And then doesn't that suck, too? Because it's like, man, I got everyone here watching me, and I don't want to make a fool of myself.
Right. I'm starting 15th.
I know.
But in my head, I'm like, well, last week, I went from 18th to 2nd. This week, I should be able to win. And I came in the trailer, and I told my crew chief, I'm like, I'm sorry. I screwed up. Just tighten the car up for me. I'm going to drive the absolute bat hell out of this thing. He said, all right. And I said, take 2 right rears into the infield, because I'm going to at least use up 1 if I bang it off the wall. And he did. But long story short, I'm in the trailer right before this fan meetup, and 100 different emotions going on in my head. There was some other stuff. There was like some side drama that was going on that was distracting me at that point. And I'm just like, man, can I just like get through this race? So I did the fan meetup, stressful. As soon as I got done with like the last person, I needed to get to the grid immediately. I had no time. I hugged my family and all that, got in the car, and I didn't know what was planned. So we all push off. I'm back there in 15th, and they call me all the way to the front of the pack. And they're like, CJ, come to the very front of the pack. You're going to pace 1 lap for your dad. And dude, I'm man enough to admit it, I was bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 lap dedicated to my dad. Everyone behind me is on a 4-wide salute. It was the coolest thing ever. It gives me chills till this day. And at that point, I'm like, I could hear him in the back of my head, don't be a you-know-what. Man up and go win this race. I'm like, all right. So I opened my visor, dried up my tears, and I'm like, all right, it's time to go to work. And they had 1 caution the whole race. So everyone's strung out, and all I'm doing is just trying to chase the leader.
And begging for a caution to bunch everyone back up.
I was begging for cautions. If it would have been the NASCAR days, I'd have been throwing water bottles out the window or something. Like, I mean, anything to get a caution. But yeah, man, it came down to late race move. It was all dicey. Me first, second, and third. I threw a slider on second, executed that. The guy in front of me was quick. I mean, he was real quick. And I knew that I was going to really have to make a move, and I did. I drove the car harder and harder and harder, and by the end of the race, right there with we were coming to the white flag when I passed him. So I led the whole white flag lap, and I will tell you like this. Everybody's like, oh, it was the longest lap of my life. No, screw you. It was the longest 4 corners ever. It felt like an hour. Mm-hmm. And the whole time I'm like 100 miles an hour. The guy behind me is breathing down my neck. And, we pulled away. I came across the finish line, and the weirdest feeling ever. It was the first moment where I actually started to heal from, the passing of my dad. Because before then, I just keep myself busy. I don't think about it. I think about him, or I talk to him in the truck every once in a while, just kind of looking up at the sky. But other than that, I don't sulk about it, don't think about it. I just go to work and keep myself so busy that I wouldn't have to deal with it. And this was like the first step of starting to deal with it for me.
Healing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Riding around the track under that cool down lap, you got to be thinking to yourself, did that just really happen?
Did not feel real.
Right?
Did not feel. As soon as I crossed as soon as I took the checkered flag, it went from slow motion to back to reality. You're like, whoa, all right, this just happened. And then the emotion sets in, and
family's there, friends are there, everyone who's watching, all of your friends, all the fans,
thousands of people in the stands.
Wow.
They're cheering, going nuts. It was the most surreal moment of my life. And I always wanted to win Dover because I was so close 4 times. Mm-hmm. But that one there, that takes the cake. That made up for not winning Dover.
That's really cool, man. Just doing the sprint car thing is hard enough, but then you're also doing it at Bridgeport, which is a super fast track,
Crazy fast.
wicked fast. Now,
Nuts.
We were saying before, your brother-in-law owns the track, or he promotes it.
Yeah, so my brother-in-law owns and promotes the racetrack. And basically he has the Mid-Atlantic Sprint Series, the series that basically I race with. They come in there almost twice a month and we race there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Changing gears really quick.
Yeah.
How did you go from doing the racing thing to saying, okay, I'm going to become a YouTube influencer? Because you've got, what, 486,000 followers on your subscribers, actually, on YouTube. Your videos get anywhere from 50 to 100,000 views in just a matter of days.
Yeah.
Like, how did that, and really for you, that kind of happened for you before, like, being a YouTube star was a thing, too.
It did.
What made you say, okay, I'm going to start making videos and put it on YouTube? And nothing, very little racing related. It's all ghost hunting.
All ghost hunting. Yeah. I have this idea in my head where I want everything to operate on its own, right? The YouTube channel is about me, but it's about a certain thing people can get behind and people love and they're passionate about. So long story short, how I got started, this is a weird one. It's about midnight, and my girlfriend and I at the time, we heard about this. I've heard about this haunted bridge in Seaford my whole life, but I'm damn sure not going to go there and try to, hunt for a ghost.
Is that the Big Liz?
This was Maggie's Bridge.
Okay.
So Big Liz Bridge, that's a different one. A little bit further away.
Video. Okay.
And man, I'll tell you, I got there to the bridge, her and I did, and we weren't there 10 seconds, and we heard something. I was like, I'm out. I'm not even facing this. And I'm obviously big into, gun ownership and all that. And, I was not staying on the bridge to find out who or what was there, even though I was very well protected.
Well, hang on. Before you start telling this story, I just gotta make sure I brought a little EMF meter to make sure that you didn't
that right there.
Make sure you didn't bring any ghosts with you here on the thing. So we're doing good, right? Is this okay? Cool.
That's exactly
just to
how
make
you
sure
do it.
you didn't bring any spirits in the room.
I appreciate that. If that thing starts going off, we're gonna move into the other studio. All right. That's good. That's pretty good. I'll give you that.
Okay, cool. I thought you'd like that.
I love that, actually.
All right, we'll keep that there.
Turn that thing on.
Okay, turn it on. Anything? Do we got anything?
If it starts lighting up or past that yellow mark, then we know we got something.
If something smacks me in the back of my head, I'll just assume that's my mom.
Okay. I'll assume it's my dad behind me then. It's fair enough. So we're out there at this bridge, man, and we're having a good time. Obviously, 10 seconds, and then we're gone. So one of the weirdest parts was I was like, I'm going to go back. So I go back. I film like a 20-minute video there. And I posted it online, and it starts getting traction. And people are starting to watch the channel. It's got like, I think I got like 500 views. And I'm like, 500 views? I'm like, this is crazy. 500 people want to watch this? Like, that's nuts. And at the time, I had 73 subscribers from racing. So I'm like, all right, this isn't racing people watching this because I didn't really promote it on any of my social networks. And these people were like, hey, love your video. Could you go to this location? Could you go to that location? I started traveling the country. And I went to my dad after I got monetized on YouTube. I'm like, dude, I made $36 on this video. He said, you wasted your effing time. I said, no. I said, bear with me. I've got a vision.
Right.
This is going to work out. This is going to be a business in itself. And he's like, there's no way in hell. There's just no way. Sure enough, a year later, he's like, I basically was, it was rolling in. And it's all, and it's the residuals and the views, and it spreads your name out there. And now you have fans that are not just race fans. You have fans that are fans of ghost hunting and all of that, and the trophy truck stuff. Oh yeah, because that has huge followings too. And it's like, dude, you're transcending across audiences. Yeah.
So okay,
it's pretty wild.
Where have you? What are some of the weirdest ghost stories that you've gotten so far? Some of the crazy ones.
One of the craziest things actually happened recently. So I've got this thing that I'm doing now on YouTube. I'm buying haunted properties. If I know it's haunted and it's for sale, there's people now who are contacting me, like the Conjuring House. They wanted me to buy their property for $1.1 million. Well, it didn't cash flow the way that I thought it would, so I didn't do it. That thing just went off, I think. Either that or I blinked. So, yeah,
we got one dot. We got one light.
Yeah, it means we're on.
We're on.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're on.
Okay,
so, yeah, like one of the weirdest ghost stories I think I have was we were inside of this house and we were investigating around, and next thing I know, the cabinet door behind me, it wasn't really on there correctly to begin with, but the way that it flew off on camera and then hit me in the back of the leg, my cameraman has it on camera. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that's weird. How do you explain, it's crooked, but it's not hanging off. So that was one weird thing. I had another one situation where we were at the Bel Air house, and Kristen Lee, who owns that house, she was like, have you ever done a seance before? I'm like, no. I'm not messing with candles. I'm not trying to summon a demon. Yeah. Not doing that. And she's like, no, well, we can do it another way. I was like, all right. So we're sitting around this table, and the whole house of the floor is shaking. Everything in the house is like rattling, and not like something you'd see on a movie, but it was just a vibration through the house. And then next thing you know, my book bag, one of those right over there, was sitting. It's been sitting there, and it had on security camera for over an hour. It was leaned up against the chair, and it fell out of the chair and rolled another time on the ground. And at that point, I'm like, what is going on? It's like poltergeist type stuff. Later on that night, I go upstairs and had a door slam straight in front of my face. And I will take a step back and honestly be able to sit here and tell you I was not a believer in any of this stuff when I went to Maggie's Bridge. And as you start to experience stuff, I've been in some of the world's most haunted tuberculosis hospital. I've been in there, spent 48 hours straight in there without coming out.
That's the one in Indiana?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that video too.
48 hours straight. Your mind goes nuts in that place.
Why do something like that? Do you just like to be scared?
Love it.
Do you really?
I love the surprise because it makes me a better reactor. So, all right, a person comes up behind me, unexpected, and does something to me. Well, now I know for next time, if I live through it, what I got to do. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a training regimen. It's like this weird messed up thing in my mind. I get like this weirdest dopamine drip in my brain. Like I'm going down a tunnel system where there could either be a homeless person who trying to stab me, again, because that's happened. And then
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this dude, I've been chased out of a lot of buildings by homeless people. Guy tried to stab me one time, was probably from me to you away.
Really? Mm-hmm. No kidding.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangers in what we do. I've fallen from the first floor of a house into the basement straight through like you see on a movie. I don't know how, but, the joists on the floor are, 12, 14 inches sometimes? Mm-hmm. I was walking across like this, and when I stopped, the floor just gave in. Once I took that, I stopped here, and the next step, the floor caved in. I hit my chin, going through the rafters, basically. Right. I took out half the ceiling fan that was below me.
Do you ever start thinking to maybe take like a security detail or an EMT with you?
I thought about it.
I mean, that's
not a bad idea.
Probably help you, especially if you get someone trying to stab you.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely insane.
It's nutty.
So are you into scary movies and all the horror flicks and all that kind of stuff too? Or?
No, I'd rather not preempt in my mind what could happen to me. So
my wife loves horror movies and scary flicks, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch that. I want a comedy
like me.
Or a documentary. I want to be entertained. Yeah. And she loves horror flicks and scary movies and suspense movies, and I'm like, no,
it's not our thing, is it?
Yeah. Well, first off, that isn't mine anyway, because if I would have seen the bag roll across the floor, I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. Bye.
We pretty much were at this point because it was getting a little wild.
Yeah,
we all saw it happen. It was wild.
Do you ever kind of like notice or feel like your dad or anything like that? Or
I can't really say that I feel like him messing with me like in a video per se, but there's some moments that I've felt him around, more of like a comforting feeling of like everything's gonna be all right. I've had some weird situations that have come up here in even recent months, and a little bit of reassurance is always good. And it's like, me, I always try to rationalize everything. I'm like, is this just me growing as a person, or is this him actually there and him, letting me know he's here? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
And I've never even tried to communicate with him. As weird as that sounds, I'll communicate with any other ghost, but I don't know if I want to, quote unquote, communicate with my dad from the dead, if that makes sense.
I chat with my mom sometimes, and I know what you mean by that, because there's times where I'll feel her presence or something, because something will be going on, or I'll be stressed out about something, and I'll turn on the radio because she loved Queen, she loved Freddie Mercury, so, and I'll be down or upset or something, and turn on the radio in the truck, and then a Queen song will pop on, and
that's meant to be.
Right?
Yeah.
You My Best Friend comes on, or another one bites the dust, and it's like, there's mom talking to me. There's my mother.
Let you know it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I have a pendant that I have some of her ashes in that I wear around my neck, and then I have her urn in my house, and
love that.
Sometimes I'll talk to her and be like, Mom, what do I do here? So there's those little things.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, changing gears again.
Yeah.
What else have you got going on? I mean, you've got the eyewear company, the ghost hunting. You still have the helicopter company?
No.
Did you have the you did?
Well, yeah, we got a helicopter for the mint and all of that, and then I'm starting to dabble in the aviation idea. My whole goal is like, hey, listen, I want to travel faster, more efficiently, everything like that. So I've got this goal of like, hey, I want to have private jets. That way I can go from business to business, town to town, film here, do this, do that. So we're getting there. We're not quite there yet.
When you're away doing all of this stuff for trophy truck racing or testing for a month or something, who's running all the other businesses?
Some of the greatest people that I can personally recruit. That's how I do it. I learned this from my dad. If you want the right person in there, you go find the right person. That right person has already got the right job or the right career. They're not going to come and find you and be like, I really want to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. But now I've learned there's what I call brand effectiveness. And that's what I'm trying to build. The culture of every one of my companies is much different than what you would imagine. When I come in the door in the morning, I'm 99% of the time I'm going to be the first one there. But if I come back from lunch or if I enter the door and I know the energy's down behind one of the counters or back there, somebody answering phones, I go back there and I instantly will pick that person up. I'll come through the door wooing and yelling, screaming, like, let's go, let's get this day going. And that energy, you got to get that restarted energy back. But the brand effectiveness is a lot of people want to come to work for me now because of either the following or they know the brand culture that I'm building. So now the recruiting has kind of, I don't know, it's 50-50. I have people all the time. They're like, hey, I edit videos, or hey, I run this car auction over here. I'm looking to move to Delaware, my family, and I want to be closer to the beach, stuff like that. So it's really cool that you have people now reaching out, but it's only because they know your name. Like the whole brand awareness as everything. And I actually think, the value of the dollar goes down every day. But what goes up every day is attention. Attention is the new currency on everything. If you have attention, you will have currency. And that is the only way this game operates. And I've learned all of that through YouTube.
It's now we are becoming a content type of society now.
It's crazy.
I get you, because my wife is on TikTok constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just flipping through videos and watching the videos over and over. And I'm not as big into it as she is. I'll, give that to her because I'm over here hustling. I'm trying to make, a living, a show. I've got a property company too. So,
right on, man.
Yeah, so I got a property company as well. And then
that's cool.
My wife and I have the content creation business that we're also trying to get off the ground too. So like you, I'm kind of got my finger in a few things, but not as big of a scale as you have. So maybe I need to pick your brain for some advice about that.
100%. I'll help any way I can, man. I mean, it's just like I look at like what I'm doing now, and it's how it all started to where it is now still doesn't make sense to me. But I'm like, just as well as I do, when you got a good thing going, you got to capitalize on it, because you're like, how long does this last? I mean,
right. Especially in television, because nothing lasts forever.
It's true. Like we were talking before the show about, the whole production side of things. It's weird how everything has just changed.
It is. It's it's becoming a media type of society, a consuming media, know. And I think that's also into the racing, and why I think dirt track racing is gaining more of a popularity compared to endurance style racing like NASCAR or IndyCar, because endurance races endure. People don't want to sit there for hours. They want some quick action, and you get that out of sprint car and midget racing and dirt late models.
Bingo.
All of that.
Oh yeah.
So, what about midget racing? You ever thought about trying a midget or hopping in one, or doing the Chili Bowl? That would be cool.
I've never had I've never wanted to race the Chili Bowl.
Really?
I've watched it religiously every year. Every night, it's either on my phone or on the TV. But I look at the race, I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool. But I don't know. I've never one time been like, I want to go do that.
Really?
Not one time.
Yeah, for me, I've always wanted to go do it because I come from a family of midget and sprint car racers.
Absolutely.
And, we want to go and run the Chili Bowl. But
Yep.
almost had an opportunity a bunch of years ago, but somebody else got the ride. And,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
long story short. But what about the no desire to do any type of NASCAR racing again or go back to pavement racing?
I don't think so. My buddy Chris Edwards, he always is like, hey man, come drive our late model at Dominion Speedway. And I'm friends with the Britt family, like really well friends with them. And I've always wanted to race there since they built that new facility. That would probably be the only pavement race I would go back to. I don't know. I mean, maybe Dover, maybe.
Right. Because that's in your backyard.
Backyard. I got a lot of fan support, and that would be about it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't know. It's just weird, It's like you go through these stages and chapters in your life where, like, yeah, I really want to do this, and then you do it, and you're like, okay, I figured out I don't want to do that anymore.
I know what you mean because moving down here in 2001, the big goal for me was to report NASCAR races on Sunday, and tried to work up that ladder. Got as high as doing ARCA, but just from there couldn't go any higher. And then the pandemic hit, which really kind of threw being on air into like a tailspin.
Yeah, because you guys technically were there but weren't there. Like some people were commentating from studios. Is that right?
Yeah, it was less. Well, they also realized too that doing the smaller crews, they're saving tons of money. So that's the biggest thing, is saving on budget.
Okay.
And using more of the salaried staff people and all that. So that's where the freelancers kind of went away. And so, yeah, since 2020, I've kind of been trying to find my way again. And this is the best thing for me, doing this show right here. I'm working with a whole bunch of my NASCAR friends from back in the day. Chris Stevens is the producer. Tony Lanuto's the associate producer.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, and these are guys that I've known for 20-something years.
Yeah.
And we're all friends, and we're doing this and having a great time at it.
I love that.
And I love this and enjoy doing this too, because I drop the stiff producer, the stiff reporter type of curtain, and I can just chill and talk, and we can just ask each other questions.
We just have fun with it. And at the end of the day, you are in control of the content that you are putting out there.
That's the other thing too. We are definitely enjoying that, making our own stuff. We're not bound by the FCC. We can drop any 4-letter word we want. We can talk as long or as short as we want to.
Love that.
Which is great.
That's good.
Now, as far as podcasts, didn't you have one for a little while?
Yeah.
Or do you still have one?
We still have one. We mess around with it.
Okay. Tell us about it.
So I built a 3,400 square foot office space for CJ Faison Incorporated, which is my YouTube company. I mean, it's probably $250,000 building. We'll probably have another $100,000 in just like you all know how expensive this stuff is, and just equipment. And I want to make it like a mega media center, basically, where we have all of this stuff going on. We're building a podcast studio right now, and we're toying with it. We've set it up like 3 different ways, and we're like, nope, we don't like this, we like this. And we spent a lot of money on like what I call play with it and then catch up to technology after. We play with this thinking this is like the best, but it's not. So I'm gonna be picking your brain after this, because I'm seeing all this. I'm like, man, this is where it's at.
I was gonna say you're looking around and seeing what this is. The magic of Chris Stevens right here. Okay, he is incredible. I know he came to me when we had the idea for doing this, and he said, the guests and the stories and everything. I can make it look pretty. So I can make it look pretty. You provide the content, and
this is cool, man.
It's been kind of like I
love it.
Peanut butter and chocolate, 2 great tastes. It tastes great together, and this is what we've made from it. And we're proud of what we have here at the Derek Prentice-Siglio Show.
I would be too, man. For real, this is so cool. And one of the things I always I always looked up to you as when you were doing all the pit reporting. I remember when you came up to me. I qualified first at Rockingham, and you did the interview with me. To me, like right before we went on air, you're like, hey man, listen, we're going to have fun with this. Let's just let it flow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. You have that personality. You are perfect for this. You really are.
Thank you.
Because you make people feel at ease. And like that's what people need sometimes.
I appreciate that. And I remember that Rockingham race. That was
pretty wild.
That was a wild day too. I know. You started on the pole. And it was the championship battle too.
Yeah, with Larson and Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace, Brett Moffitt, Corey LaJoy was also, and there was like
Chase Elliott.
There was like 3 guys that had a shot at the championship, and then Moffitt got wrecked on the last lap, and Tyler Reddick won it. It was his first start too, and everyone was like, "Who the hell is this kid?"
Yep. Now look at him.
I know, right?
He had the long hair.
He had the mullet.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
It's amazing, and that was what 2011 or 13?
Yeah, 13.
Was it 13?
Yep. Or no, that was 12. 2012 was Rockingham.
11 years ago.
It seems like it was maybe 3 or 4, but
right? It's amazing.
where's time gone?
Where has the time gone? So what's next for you? What are you going to do now?
There's some stuff. I want to get into more real estate holdings. So I want to own a lot more property because my theory on that is, hey, listen, we can always make more products, laptops, computers, anything. But they're not making more property every day. We only have a certain amount of dirt to deal with, and I do a lot of that. I do stock investing as well.
Okay.
I'm not a day trader or anything, but I put money in the market, and when it's up, that's great. I cash out and wait till it drops again. And if I don't, I lost out, on future money. But I just don't look at it the way most people do.
Really?
I look at it, if there's money to be made, let's do it. I mean, whenever I do, like for instance, whenever I do a merch drop, I mean, like the craziest merch drop I had was a Thanksgiving night. On Thanksgiving night
during the off season.
What'd
you do?
I got on a live stream and just started entertaining people because I knew in my head, I'm like, all right, well, Thanksgiving night, everyone is either calming down and getting ready for the crazy next day of Black Friday shopping, or they're going to go out at midnight. But I always knew there was like a 4-hour window, like that 8 to midnight window is where a lot of people are scrolling on their phones. Mm-hmm. So I capitalized on that, promoted this big merch drop, and we did 6 figures in 4 hours of merch.
Wow. Just what, your race shirts?
No, for YouTube. Just YouTube merch.
What kind of merchandise?
Motivated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I think is incredible too is like you go, oh, I'm going to go online and entertain people. Where for me, I'm going to go, all right, I've got to write down some material. I got to write down what I'm going to talk about. And you just go, nah, screw it. I'm just going to turn on the camera. How do you do that?
Because I don't know. My cameraman
my thing is preparation.
And editor, they go crazy. They're like, what are we talking about? I need lower thirds so we can put it up on the screen. I'm like, I don't know. Just type it in when I say I'm going to start talking about something. And he's like, well, I got to design it first. I got to upload it in the live studio and just give me a direction. I'm like, well, here's 30 topics that I might talk about. And usually we only hit 10 of them, and I do 10 other ones that weren't on the list. I just wing it, man. Everything in life, I wing. But I will say this. I probably have become a better businessman in the past couple of months because of my girlfriend. She is very, very organized, where there's a lot of things that is well organized as it may look on the outside. Internally, there's a project here that gets put on the back burner, and then I'm like, man, I forgot about that. I guess bring it back up. And she helps me timetable out everything. And probably the greatest godsend ever was her, and just trying to structure my life. Because, I mean, if you think about it, you're at it, like take a cereal bowl, for instance, right? You put the cereal in, you add the milk, and then you put more stuff on top of it, and then you add more milk to it, and you keep on adding cereal and milk. Eventually, it's going to overflow, and I'm at that point.
Right.
So I needed that little bit of like, hey, let's structure this, spend this amount of time on that, and streamline production-wise, I'm probably doubling what I used to do.
And she's helped you with that, with the organization.
Every bit of it.
And she has like no experience in any of this, and she's just winging it too?
Yeah, she has experience in business world.
Okay.
But as far as like YouTube and media, she has no clue. She is the furthest thing from like a social media person. She doesn't want to be an influencer on there. Like I tag her in stories all the time, and she's like, people are going to follow me. I'm like, that's kind of the point of social media. She's like, I just like to post pictures. I'm like, all right, well, she doesn't want that attention at all.
You know what the funny thing is too, is what my wife and I are finding with starting the content creation company is that there are a lot of people out there that want to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, across all those platforms, but they don't know how to do it, or they don't, or they aren't interested in having to make the videos, and they'll come to us to make the content for them. So for us, like, everyone want, like those people that want to be an influencer, they want to wave their banner. We go to those people and say, we're just trying to provide a bigger banner to wave. So
I like that.
Yeah, that's what we try to do, because it's not, like you said, it's all content. So if these people can get stuff made for them and put it up there, that's the business model that we are trying to provide.
I like that.
So yeah, it's on a small scale right now. Nothing too huge. I mean, we've got like some wedding planners, CrossFit trainers, some racing people, and
I like that.
But yeah, we're slowly but surely getting there.
But that has so much potential, though. You think about someone like myself. If I didn't have an editor and I didn't have a full-time cameraman and full-time editor, I'd be an eighth of producing content of what I do now.
Right, I get you.
But if I had someone like you and your wife who had a company and I wasn't in the position I am now, but I want to, that's how you bridge the gap. Like, you would be the perfect bridge between, hey, you're not having to pay $100,000 plus in cameraman and editors and staff. You pay us this. We bridge the gap to get you to there.
Right.
Like, that's a good business
That's
model.
the
Man.
service
I like that.
we're trying to provide for them. Yeah. So
really unique.
and really all it was too was just taking my television production experience and taking it to the internet and to the social channels. That's really all it is. And that's kind of like what we decided to go with. Technically, right now we're a little overwhelmed, even with small clients, because I don't have a full-time editor. I'm the cameraman, the editor, the producer, the field producer. Yeah, I get it. So I know what you mean.
It's a job.
It is. So you fly out at 8 o'clock tonight to head back home. Now, what does tomorrow look like for you? Is it a day at the office, or are you going to take the day off, or what is?
No, tonight when I get back, I take off. I think I was like 8:03. I get back right at 9:15. My cameraman's meeting me at one of my new properties I just bought that's haunted that we're going to go film tonight. So we'll film there from roughly 10 o'clock at night till 3 a.m.
Okay. You could have brought your camera guys here to shoot,
I didn't know. Like, I would have loved that, man. Like, vlog this whole day. I just didn't know. Like, some people are weird about that.
Well, we'll have you back again, and then you'll come back.
Love that.
Come back and do it. Absolutely.
So, no, like, tomorrow looks like just another day. I don't... Derek, this sounds really crazy, but I don't have days off, so to speak. I will ride what I call vacation. I'll go out on a motorcycle ride for 3 hours. And like at the end of 3 hours, I'm so stressed to get back and get to work. I'm like, man, I literally pissed away 3 hours. But I have to do that to keep my sanity. And my girlfriend came to me and she's like, let's just go to the beach for the weekend. And I live 20 minutes from the beach. And I'm like, all right, if we're going to go to a beach, we're going somewhere else. Like, and I need the closer I am to home or one of my offices, we need to be in a different state that I don't have an office in. Because if not, I'm going to be bound to go there. So we're going to go to Key West for like a week and hang out. And I haven't took a vacation in 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've not been on vacation in 4 years. And I say it was a vacation. I went away for a weekend.
Right.
Like, that was a big deal for me. But by Sunday, I was stressed out. I'm like, I need to go back to the office. Like,
do you call yourself a workaholic?
100%. Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Is it a workaholic in a bad way or in a healthy way? Because there's healthy ways of being a workaholic, to be able to come in, kick ass, do your job, but then, go home at the end of the night.
I don't know. I honestly, I've never thought about it that way. I've always thought just work and you're going to get there. Because I want to retire by between 45 and 50. I want to be like done.
You're on your way.
Done with it.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to dabble. Something. I see myself owning like an RV dealership when I'm 50 or something, and just like because I love RVs and always been into it, but that's like my retirement fun would be selling RVs.
I don't see you retiring because I think you will just get bored and you're gonna have to find something or have something to do. Either that or go find the next extreme sport or something.
I could do that, yeah.
Dude, next week we've got a motorcycle racer and a jet surf racer coming in. So this guy actually,
really,
yeah, they're jet powered surfboards. This guy races.
Those are wicked.
Yeah, he's the number one ranked jet surf racer in the country. So we're gonna learn all about jet surf racing. Besides, I
don't know anything about that. That's pretty cool.
Me neither. Well, there's a lot of. That's what we wanted you here too, because there's a lot of stuff we don't know about with you now. Because I knew you from the NASCAR world and the oval track racing world, but now with the ghost hunting, the Delaware Auto Exchange, trophy truck racing. I mean, how many trophy truck races are you going to do this year?
I'm supposed to do 6, but I'm only probably going to do 3 to 4. So
why is that?
A lot of it has to deal with my sprint car schedule. I committed to all of the certain sprint car races, and kind of we were talking before the show. I can only do certain things at certain places and venues and such, just because of contractual obligations, I guess you would call that. I'm kind of handcuffed in certain areas, but I can still go and do as I want. It's like this.
You belong to a marketing company, right?
Right.
Okay.
And it's weird because I have part ownership in that. So it is weird, but I get the big picture of, there's a lot of people who put a lot of time, energy, and money behind me. Like there's the Fortune 500 companies that are literally coming to us like all the time for brand deals and sponsorship. I mean, here's your clickbait for this episode right here. I turned down a $250,000 brand deal because the company's values did not align with me.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding.
And I would have rather
We won't mention their name, but no. We would,
but I mean,
it's just what they were into was not what you're into.
No, they wanted to change who I was on social media because like I've been limited to like the content that I could technically post, like personal life wise. Just there's a lot. I mean, you all are in production and TV. You get the big picture. There's always somebody way up there who's trying to control kind of what's going on with what you post and all of that. So like Manscaped, I'm a great sponsor of mine.
Yeah.
We love each other because I'm edgy. I can be myself. Where this Fortune 500 company comes in and slides across a piece of paper, says 250,000. We only want, half of your, what they call episodes, but half of your videos you put up. And that was for, it was good, but don't get me wrong, $250,000 is awesome.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what they were trying to change on the back end and like just did not align.
You know what? I give you a lot of credit for not compromising yourself for, $250,000 because there's a lot of people out there that would see the dollar signs and go for the money.
And I don't want to look like a sellout. My fans know who I am.
Right.
And that's what people all the time will say when they meet me in person. Oh, you're the same person you are on your videos. I'm like, what you see is what you get. I don't know what you're expecting or if it was more or less, but like, this is just me. I'm a kid from Delaware that just literally works his life away. But has fun doing it.
Dude, be yours. Just be you because everybody else is taken. That's number one.
That's a good point. I've never heard of that before. That's a good point.
Everybody else is taken. But the other thing, too, is I try to be me, doing the television stuff and the reporting as much as possible because the people know it. They can see it. They can see when someone's real. They can see when a reporter knows what they're talking about compared to what they don't.
Oh yeah.
There's things that we're talking about now I don't know completely anything about, like the trophy trucks. Educate me. I'm willing to learn and or see what this is all about. Have a little bit of education in the off-road stuff with the short course stuff. But
it's
speaking
incredible,
of
dude.
What about Crandon? You've heard of Crandon, right?
Crandon?
Crandon, Wisconsin. They do the big off-road deal there every year.
No,
dude, that's like a huge thing. Crandon,
I guess I gotta go.
You got to look up the off-road. You got to look it up. Yeah, it's like this huge course that they do in Crandon, Wisconsin. Like it's big up that way.
I gotta go.
I got a buddy of mine, Brent Smith.
Is it short course?
I guess it's short course, but it's a big short course. But like all those guys come in, like Kyle LeDuc and what's his name? Beat. He comes in too. He comes and runs and oh my God, I'm trying to remember some of the names. Jarrett Brooks. I don't know if you know that guy. But they all come in and
That's wicked. I'll have to check that out.
Crandon, Wisconsin. Yeah, they do that race there every year. It's a short course race, and it draws like 150,000 people. Man, they come in from all over. It's huge.
That's wild. It kind of sounds like King of the Hammers. They have like this King of the Hammers out in California.
A buddy of mine went out and just produced that show.
Just the amount of the sheer people who camp there. Nuts.
I know. And you know what the funny thing is too is that they're out there racing with these expensive trucks, and these trucks are hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the purses are not that huge.
Derek, that's what we need to talk about. Oh my gosh. That's what we need to talk about right there.
Yeah, $250,000 trucks, and they race for like $2,000 to win or something like that, right? It's
nuts.
They got it. Yeah, they got to up the money. I mean,
maybe I don't know. I think that's here's what it is though. So I've learned that the trophy truck racing is like the quote unquote billionaires sport because everybody in that racing, they're billionaires or mega millionaires. Like they are rolling in the money, rolling in the money. And that's why them trucks are, a baseline trophy truck like the truck that I drive has $500,000.
Wow. Oh my
now you want to get into an all-wheel drive truck, $1 million plus.
That's the Pro 4, right?
No, so that's just an all-wheel drive.
Okay.
So two-wheel drive is standard all the way across the board for trophy trucks. But the all-wheel drive, there's people still trying to develop it, and they're having a lot of problems just because it's not to take that much abuse. Those trucks go through so much. Like the truck that I drove at the Mint, I mean, less than 48 hours later, it was down to the bare frame. They put all new components on it and start from scratch again because it goes through an 8-hour plane crash. It's like just chaos, man.
They get shook to pieces, right?
Yeah. Everything in those trucks is just almost junked. It's insane. What?
I know.
It doesn't even make sense.
I couldn't believe it, too, doing the off-road stuff. And these guys would come in for a pit stop, and they literally take DeWalt guns to take the body off. Like, it's not... There's no rivets or anything. Everything is bolted on, and they just pull everything off.
Yeah, and probably the coolest part for that is this is cool. During the Mint, we had just some weird turn of events. So I'm coming around the sand trap, and I rolled the truck on its side. So obviously we had to get flipped over. We lost like 20 minutes there. So it was huge. 3-minute tire change is anywhere from first to 31st. So we lost 3 minutes, but in the course of the Mint, it's still, you're doing pretty good.
When you wreck like that, how long does it take for safety crews to get to you? And if you get like a flat or something, do you have to change your own flat tire? Oh, you do? You have to change your own flat?
We change our own flats.
Really?
When we roll, all right, so luckily, back in December at the Legacy race, we flipped the truck in this canyon. And there's not safety officials at every couple of miles. They're spread out 10, 20 miles apart. It's not like if you flip over, someone's going to come to your rescue and help you get out of the truck. If that thing catches on fire and you're trapped inside, you're burning alive with the truck. There's no two ways about that.
Wow.
So it's scary. I mean, when we flipped the truck and I knew where we were because we were on our third loop, the final lap, I'm like, what? What are we going to do? So we got lucky because a lot of times you'll be trapped out there in the desert between 12 and 24 hours before either rescue, your team, or a safety official or some other driver will help you out.
So you do you take food and water with you too?
Yep. We got a bag that is attached in between me and my navigator, and it's called a getaway bag. And we have enough supplies to last for roughly 24 to 36 hours. Chuck Dempsey was in the desert for 33 hours one time before he could get rescued. Truck was upside down. Nothing you can do.
There's no radio communication or anything like that?
Your comms usually go when you flip.
Really?
Yeah, so when you flip over, your antennas and all that, all your radio communication is pretty much cut. So we do have a sat phone as a last resort, last-ditch effort. But that's why off-road racing, I don't think people understand just how dangerous it really is. We got lucky when we flipped because my helicopter was flying over top of us. And as the helicopter's flying over top of me, we flip. He radios in because he knew my communications, all our comms are shot. So he radios in. The team then radios to Race Control, a.k.a. the Weatherman channel, and they sent rescue out there. Now, they could dispatch rescue, but for rescue to get out there in a Ford Raptor, it's going to take a lot longer than it would, a trophy truck.
Right.
So in my head, I'm thinking we're going to be out here for the next 12 to 24 hours. I'm mentally preparing myself. The sun is going down. We had 10 minutes of daylight left when we crawled out of the truck. And I told my navigator, Chris, I'm like, be prepared to fend off animals because we have knives and stuff like that in our getaway bag. Because you got coyotes, you got mountain lions, you got all those crazy animals, rattlesnakes. I mean, it's not just your safety;
right.
It's other elements.
Right.
That
Not only do you have
too.
to worry about getting hurt, crashing the truck. Now you got to worry about getting attacked by a mountain lion or
100%.
something. Oh my God, man!
So yeah, we got lucky because rescue was dispatched 4 hours earlier to a wreck that was a mile ahead of us that we couldn't see. So on his way through, we were only there maybe an hour and a half. He flips us back over. And my navigator, Chris, was like, oh, man, I don't know if this truck's going to be able to make it. Well, during the time that we were waiting for safety, I'm inspecting every component on that truck when it's flipped over. I'm rolling tires, crawled up underneath, put it in neutral, rolling there's axles weren't bent. I mean, we got very lucky because a lot of our flips were in the air, and then all the hard landings were on the top of the cage, which hurt us in a sense. So.
Right, but not the suspension.
Yeah, we flipped that thing back over. He was terrified to get in. I'm like, get in this truck, strap down. We're gonna make up time.
Oh my God,
we did.
That's crazy.
It's wild. It's just stuff you just would never know unless you were taught.
So what time did you finish the race? Is it like late at night or early hours of the morning?
Yeah, the Mint, I think I crossed the finish line at like 9 p.m.
Really?
Yeah.
So what was your official finish in that race?
14th.
14th.
And then 33rd overall. 14th in class, 33rd overall. Wow. There's 500 trucks.
So, excuse me. So, what do you want to drive next? I mean, what's on the list next? I mean, there's been
that's a good
trucks,
question.
NASCAR, sprint cars, dirt late models, trophy trucks. I mean, you know what I got to do? I got to talk to a buddy of mine who does the arrive and drive programs for the Outlaw carts. You got to come down on a Sunday.
I'll do it.
You got to come down on a Sunday to Mountain Creek Speedway. We'll throw you in an Outlaw cart. You want to talk about a wild? You're gonna see something that's about a little bit bigger than this table, and it's gonna pin you back in the seat, and you're gonna go, holy shit,
dude, that's wild. Let's do it. If you don't mind, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get you in touch with Kyle Beatty. And,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, we'll get that going for you.
I would love it, man.
Cool.
As long as I can vlog it. I mean, heck yeah, let's do it.
You do whatever you want. Yeah, you can shoot it and all that because like you said, it's all content, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well,
let me ask you something real quick.
Go ahead.
All right, so like you ask like what do I want to drive next? What do you suggest I drive next?
What do I suggest you drive next?
Outlaw cart. What else is out there?
That's on the list for sure. Next one, do you want to do dirt or pavement?
Either or.
Yeah. If you're gonna go the pavement route, I would suggest trying a super modified.
Is that the one they run at like Oswego?
Mm-hmm, okay. Exactly. Yeah, because that's the closest thing you're going to get to be in an Indy car without being an Indy car.
Yeah, my buddy Joey Payne races those.
Oh, he's going to come on the show.
Is he really?
Joey's coming.
Oh, my gosh. No.
Dude, I know Joe. He drove for my dad, man.
Did he really?
Oh, I've known Joey since I was a little kid.
What the heck?
Yeah,
this is a small world.
It's very small. Oh,
wow.
I watched Joey win his first race at Iceville Speedway in 1984, man.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the very last night. Joey knows me. Oh, are you kidding?
I saw him back in January at Motorsport Show, so yeah.
Is he not a character?
I love him.
I know.
He's he's the guy you just want to put a microphone in front of him, especially after something bad happens. He's gonna give you a nice sound bite every time.
Oh, I love Joey to death. The Dirty Jersey posse is
absolutely
is great, but
full effect, man. He's really cool.
Yeah. So definitely a super modified. Talk to Joey Payne. I'm sure he could find you a car to hop in because he knows guys in the super modified world or tour type modified, NASCAR type modified. I think you'd dig that. Dirt wise, the Outlaw cart would be up there, but micro sprint racing is becoming huge down here.
I know. What's the track?
His Millbridge. And there's also the track that I work at, which is Mountain Creek. So we just started we just started hosting micro sprints at Mountain Creek this year, and it's been so far we've had some really great reviews, and the competitors like it.
That's cool, man. I might have to look into that then.
Yeah, but if you're gonna go that route, I mean, you've already driven a sprint car, which is, in my opinion, the ultimate short track race car that is out there.
Things are wild.
Yeah, but I think an Outlaw cart, you'd think, as small as it is, I think you'd think it was pretty wild, and. Probably a 410 sprint car after that. I think you should try that because you're so used to the sprint cars.
Yeah. Well, I think that's my dad never wanted me to race sprint cars. I always wanted them. I was like, man, those sprint cars look so much fun. So, I kind of went that route and started my own team. He wasn't too happy about that, but I don't regret it.
Right.
I don't regret it one bit. Those things are fun, man. They are just a blast.
Very cool.
Because it's like you just running 110 with your hair on fire every lap.
It's balls out. It is. That's, in my opinion, that's racing.
Yeah.
When you drop the hammer and you're on.
Yeah.
To me, that's a lot more exciting than running a bunch of unnecessary laps where you're tire saving or just waiting for the end.
Fuel mileage.
A race is a race. Let's freaking race, man.
They call it a sprint race for a reason. It's a sprint of a race.
Right.
You're right. It's not endurance, and I'm gonna touch on that real quick. The endurance that it took to run a trophy truck, those guys are the most underrated athletes ever. I don't like. You should try to get BJ Baldwin on this podcast.
Okay.
That's a guy right there with one hell of a story.
Dude, we'll talk to anybody in motorsports.
I mean, he's raced those trophy trucks for basically his whole life, and he is a wild MFer.
Cool. Hey, listen, our biggest thing on this show is stories. We want stories, and we definitely want to hear from people and hear those stories. So, because there's a whole audience out there that gets intrigued by by hearing it. But we are getting close to wrapping it up. But before we do, let us know where we can find you in the world of CJ Faison, your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, your next appearance.
Everything is at CJ Faison. My YouTube channel, just CJ Faison, Faison. That's how you spell my last name. And there's a lot of fake accounts. Like, I don't know why, but people make these fake accounts of me, and like people think they're married to me, and I'm like, oh god.
Dude, going on Twitter the other day just to kind of like tag you in something, there was like 12 or 13 CJ Faisons. Like, what the hell?
Did you tag me in something?
Yeah, I was replying back to Matt Dillner about something. It may have been one of the other fake accounts. I don't know.
Oh, geez.
You've got I used the one with the blue check.
Yeah, that's me. Yep.
Okay, well, who knows what's going on with the blue checks now with Elon Musk and
I know.
Twitter.
Isn't that wild?
I just can't grasp it because I've never had the blue check, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. I don't give a shit about it.
It's a money grab. Let's agree. It's a money grab for them.
Yeah, but where else can we find you? Where else can we watch you? What's the next race that you're going to be at so your fans will know?
Well, the next race is May 13th at Dixieland Speedway, May 14th at Bridgeport Speedway. And other than that, I mean, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything's verified. So if it's got the blue check mark, that's me. It helps in my situation significantly because there is an abundance of females out there who I'm either engaged to or gonna get married to or am married to.
Or they say you're their baby daddy or something.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Yeah. You get that, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
no kidding.
If you want to have me back on here, we'll dive into some juicy stories.
Well, no, keep going, man. Okay. Let's hear it.
All right. So there was this one lady, and this is recent.
Okay.
This was 2 weeks ago. We found out about this. So if you call any of my offices, it all gets logged because we had this one guy call in to the office one time and say, "Hey, if next time you see CJ in the office, let him know the next time I see him, I'm gonna stab him."
For what?
I don't know. So he blocked his number or whatever, but we have a really, really good relationship with Delaware State Police and several federal investigators, and there's a lot of connections when you start getting into a bigger following. I had someone break into my house. We can talk about that. That was insane. Yeah.
What happened?
I had my little sister and her friend over at my house, and they were playing hide and go seek all throughout my house. And I was going to be funny and go into my garage and turn all the power off and scare them. Right before I did that, I'm glad this happened, but glad it, kind of sucks that it happened too. They freak out. They're like, there's someone upstairs in the bedroom. And when I turn the corner in my living room, there's a big balcony that runs all the way across it. And you can see up into this one room, and I could see the cell phone light on someone's face I didn't know. So my house is now. It kind of was before. It was a very secure place, but now it's like the White House. This guy got in my house. My little sister accidentally left one of the windows unlocked in that bedroom that she was staying in.
Wow.
And we all went out for the day and came back, and later on that night, he was still there. He was a super fan of mine, and when I called the police, they had, I believe it was 13 officers there within like 6 minutes. In the state of Delaware, like at nighttime, our officers are pretty spread thin, and I live so far in the middle of nowhere. For them to have gotten there that fast, I still don't know how they did it. I don't ask questions. I just know that there was an abundance of officers there.
Really?
Stalking situations.
Yeah, I told you have a stalker.
Been through that multiple times. Like,
did you have to press charges?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm also the type of person, like, when I let you think you get away with it. So there is, depending on what state, it's like this. It's like whenever you see like a shooting on TV and they, announce the name of the person. I hate that because it's just giving that person like the attention that they so far
were
wanted.
Looking for.
I really don't agree with that. So I don't personally call people out. I could use my platform to per se ruin someone's life, but I'm not going to do that. I'd rather take it to the legal system and stuff like that. So had the stalking situation one time, and I had 2 years to press charges. And I waited until like 4 days before, like it was like supposed to be like just gone away. And I did it then. I set the precedence of that. You know, I don't want people thinking they can get one over on me, but I'm not going and looking to sue anyone either. You know, I'm not like a lawsuit happy person by any means, but that was a weird situation because they would show up to my house. They would stalk one of my girlfriends I had at the time. I mean, it got way out of hand, way too quick.
Really?
But
has it ruined previous relationships with girlfriends?
Definitely took a toll on one of them for sure. And then it was like one of those things. I've just kind of been like this guy who's never really been serious about like marriage or relationships to begin with. So when she would come to me and say, I don't feel comfortable with this, I wasn't registering that in my head. I wasn't mature enough at that point to understand like, oh, this is a real problem. Like, I need to fix this. So I took a lot of self-accountability here lately. And, you know, the relationship I'm in now, I'm putting 155% effort into it like I do my businesses because I'm like, where could this go if I put all this effort into this? Could be something amazing. Right. So, yeah, it's pretty wild, man. And I don't want to let anyone come in between her and I. That's not the goal whatsoever. So that's like, it's just something you need to respect is the way they feel.
Wow, that's just
because
insane.
I mean, I see it now. I'm like, if I was being stalked at Target, I would probably be really worried, and I was, but I'm just like, call the police, let them handle it, yada yada. And now I take more action of my legal team and our resources and relationships with the police.
Now imagine how much amplified this would be if you were like a movie star, a huge celebrity, or something. Like, I couldn't imagine that that level.
I don't know what you do.
That happen to them. Because you yourself right now are under enough of a microscope, and then when you become that big, the microscope becomes even smaller to concentrate on you.
But you think about it, like, well, I'm getting to the point now where, so my house, I won't disclose how many, but there's over 30 cameras between, they're all hardwired through the woods.
Wow. My
fence has this detector on it. Like if someone were to hop my fence in the backyard, it has pressure sensors on them. So like if you were to hop over my fence, the alarm inside will go off and it will dispatch someone.
No kidding.
Yeah, because it's just
this is like Mission Impossible to break into your place. Huh?
Yeah, I mean that's why I say like I want to, like when I'm home, I just want people to leave me alone. And I had fans that used to come to my old house. They would sit in my driveway, or had this one girl. She took a picture with her leg wrapped around my mailbox, and I guess my mailbox wasn't properly put on there because it fell off. And like then I had to go look at the cameras, and I'm like, these girls are. Then they went as far as like taking the selfie with her legs wrapped around my mailbox to then tagging me on Instagram, and I'm like, now you just incriminated yourself. I didn't do anything with that. I'm just like,
that's insane, dude.
There's some wild stories, man.
Well, then, the next time you come back, you got to share more of these, for sure. We've heard some great ones today, so we definitely want to have you back. And the great part is the EMF meter didn't go off, so we don't need to break out the proton packs.
Thank
or anything,
goodness.
Or the ghost
we don't need a sage in here or anything crazy.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Man.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thank you. CJ Faison on this episode of the Derek Prentice Show. We want to thank all of you for joining us, and as always, we'll see you the next time. Bye.